Welcome back to Louisiana Football TV Magazine. Before we go to Coach Brad Bradshaw, head coach of Bastrop, and heralded recruit D-tackle Josh Downs, who's committed to LSU, we'll talk about his recruits, Ruben Randall and D'Angelo Benton, and all the other guys. He's got 6 or 7 that are going to sign from his school this year. We got a legendary DB, played with the Oakland Raiders back in the 70s and 60s, calling all the way from Denver, Colorado. Nehemiah Wilson. Nehemiah, do we have you on?
Lee, how you doing today?
How cold is it in Colorado?
Oh, we're about 65 today.
65. What is it about? I want to get into the NFL. You played at Grambling for the late Eddie Robinson.
That's correct.
And you went on to the Oakland Raiders. I got to get into this. The miracle catch by Franco Harris. You were on the field as a cornerback. Tonight we have Randall Gay on, who's in the audience with the New Orleans Saints. He's a cornerback. What was it like, and how do you feel every time you see the follies of that play?
Well, it's like a curse. It just follows you everywhere you go. And you always think about what could have been and what should have been that never happened. So it never changes. Every time you see it, it's the same thing over and over again.
Now, me and Randall were talking earlier, Randall Gay, about the catch that the Giants made, that miracle catch where the ball stuck to the helmet like glue, and Harrison is knocking him out, and everybody's all over this guy, and the ball just glued to his helmet. When you saw Franco pick this ball up, about an inch from the ground, what was the chances? 1 out of a billion that he'd catch that when you were watching this go down?
Well, I knew he had an opportunity to catch it, but I thought it would be a moot point because I thought that the ball had hit Frenchie Fuqua's shoulder pad rather than Jack Tatum's hand.
Okay.
And if you look at it and everything else, that the ball just hitting the hand don't bounce back that far or anything. It generally falls straight to the ground. But when it hits something like a pad, it ricochets off and bounces back. And I thought it would have been a dead play.
Well, Nehemiah, let me ask you this. You're in Colorado now. You're not in Oakland anymore, but what's the deal with Al Davis these days? I mean, he's fires a coach every 6 months. They don't even last a year. What is that about? I mean, you played. Was he always like that?
Well, no, not really. But Al has to be in control and everything, and he's always credited himself with making somebody. And coaches nowadays want to prove their worth themselves. And Al just won't give up on his ways of being in control of everything and telling you what every move to make. And I think that's the problem that he's having now. Some guys will take the job and say, I can deal with that. And after they get in there a while and they're not having the kind of success they envision, then they want to spread out and do their own thing. And Al's just not going to give up on that. He's going to stay in control.
Well, Nehemiah, you played at Grambling. You still have family here in Louisiana. What is it like to visit home? I mean, I know you live in Colorado now, but you still come to Louisiana time to time.
Well, there's no place like home. You know, you leave home really in body, but in stature you're always there, and you never forget home. Home is always a place that you can go back to, and you'll never have to wonder what's going to be the reception, or how am I going to be accepted or treated or anything else like that. Home is just home, and so it's always a pleasure going back home.
Well, let me ask you this. What was it like playing for the late Eddie Robinson at Grambling and then going to the NFL? And I take it, the coach, was it John Madden, or that was before John Madden?
That was John Madden.
John Madden. And what was it like? What's the difference of personalities? John was a great one at his time, and then Eddie, the great Eddie, late Eddie Robinson.
Well, the difference in the two was that Eddie was more of a teacher and more of a father-like figure. He felt that he adopted everybody, and it was his responsibility to prepare everybody for the future, not just in ball, but in just in life general and everything else like that. And he felt that he owed it to you, and you owed it to him to do the best job that you can do. And he always said that one day I would want you to come back to school and repay us by helping someone else. And it has always worked that way. And, Eddie was just one of those guys, he worked you to death and everything like that. And normally when you leave Grambling and you went to the pros, the work wasn't hard.
You were ready.
You were ready to play. And You know, like I remember the first time I practiced in Denver, and in about 45 minutes, practice was over. And I said, man, I said, you got to be kidding me. I said, we'd just be starting at Grambling, and the guys got mad and said, shut up, man. we don't want to go back out there.
Hey.
You know, that's the way it was, you know.
Well, Brad Bradshaw, who's in the audience, Nehemiah is the head football coach at Bastrop High School, 3 state titles in 4 years, and that's kind of his philosophy too. He works his kids hard, but they're ready for college when they leave college in the pros. But final thoughts, John Madden. Did you think he would be on TV as long as he's made his career in TV?
Well, you know, John had the personality to be a lot of things and everything else. And if you had to characterize John Madden, you would say that he was a people's person and everything. And we kind of knew, at least I kind of knew, that he wasn't for the game too long and everything else like that, because he had to spend too much time away from family, and there was a lot of decisions that he had to make that he really wasn't comfortable with. Right. And everything. And so as soon as he found something else that he could fall in love with, then he made the move. So that's the kind of guy John is. He'll always be remembered as a people's person.
And finally, Nehemiah, Gene Upshaw, the late Gene Upshaw, what was that like? I mean, hearing of him dying, passing this past year, a great offensive guard. And Art Shell was what, twice head coach for Al Davis and former player?
Mm-hmm. Well, with Gene, it's like losing a family member. You know, I think the one thing that you learn through playing sports is that there is no I in team and everything, and you become like brothers in a fraternity or something like that. And so when something happened to one, it happened to all. You know, I remember the big, rugged Gene Upshaw that didn't play a lot and everything, but yet he was a team captain, and he was somebody that everybody looked up to and had fun. And it was a sad moment to see a guy as big as Gene was, and yet be so humble in the latter days of his life. You know, it's a sad thing, and we really miss him.
Well, Nehemiah, I appreciate you calling us all the way from Denver, Colorado. We would like to get you back in the future, talk more football, and again, we appreciate you calling us, and stay warm up in Colorado. I know it's cold.
Right now, we're warm now. It's almost golf weather.
All right.
I'll be down within the next month or so, and I'll give you a call.
Okay, Nehemiah, I appreciate it.
Thank you, Lee.
Thank you.
Bye.